Alright folks, got ourselves a classic 2009 Subaru. It's a Forester. That's a big 2.5 single cam. And it's got some creaking and crunching and snapping and banging while you're going down the road. Front CV axles are junk. Really making a ton of racket. So I've got some new ones coming from Napa. Not a sponsor, but we're gonna see if we can get these out. She's kind of crusty. Both of them. The one on the left side is way worse than the one on the right side, but there's lots of noise coming from both. Give her the old mule kick here. This thing's pretty stuck. Whoa, hang on, get your balance here, pal. Go by, yeah. We got her. Looks like a daily dirt road driver. 333,000 miles on the Subaru. Unheard of. I don't know how many engines and trainings it's been through, but at least a couple. Grabbed us a 32 mm. Oh yeah, first try. Oh, axle's even loose. That's even better. We don't have to remove the cotter pin because there isn't one. Well, you can see, with this many miles, she ain't no virgin, folks. I don't care what it tells you. But you can see where somebody wailed the piss out of this, trying to get the, you know, this thing here, the ball joint out of there. Use your words, fella. Well, there was a cotter pin. At some point, it looks like it broke off in there for a while. What we'll do is we'll get a wheel nut, we'll thread it on there, we'll see if we can whack right on the end and break it loose. See, Subarus, even when the arms aren't, you know, rotted, it's really difficult to hammer out here because they are hollow. These are just, you know, stamped tin and they've got a sleeve going through the middle. So if you're beating on it out here like conventional methods would allow, it doesn't work well on Subarus. Thought I had some 12 mil fine threads around here, but I guess I don't. So I threaded the castle nut on upside down, just by hand until it's flush. That way if we booger up the threads, we can at least pull it off and straighten them out. We'll give her just a couple little toots here. Yeah, she didn't want to go that way. These things are pretty soft. You got to be pretty careful to keep wailing on them. Alright, spin that back off. Use another method here. I put the nut back on just in case. I'll stick this little guy in here. The problem is the top of these control arms isn't flat. Of course, this one's a little deformed. Oh, I guess we did break it loose, fella. I got all too excited. Right? Let's see how we make out on the other side, but that was just loose, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, she's loose. All right, never mind. Got all excited about nothing. So air hammer, it must have popped her loose. Let's get that cotter key out of there. We'll just run a drill through it. Looks like she's been broke off in there a while. Let's try to center punch it here a little bit, or sometimes that'll get them moving a little bit too. There, that'll get us close enough. Looking good. All the way through. There's probably still some more pieces that need to come out here. Yep, there we go. I think we got them. All right, I think that's good. Make Make sure that little guy's still happy. Yep. Alright. Just gotta do the same thing on the other side now. Oh! Oh! I heard that. But we didn't booger up the threads. That's what's important. There we go. Come on, baby. All right. Ooh. She is crusty, boy. There's that one. Pop the other one out there. Get behind me, sucker. And there's that one. I always gotta wait for the new ones to show up. We'll slip that out all the way. Well, this is the end. Well, this is the end. So this one was smoked. This one here, the boot was tore right off. And she's pretty well out of grease and nice and rusty in there. And has quite a big catch spot in it. So kind of like a box of marbles. But not anymore, all the way from the People's Republic of China into the PRNY. We've got a new axle from Napper. We'll get her lined up on there. Maybe we can just heave-ho it in. Yes, sir. There's that one. Let's do the other one. Let's slip that little guy out the rest of the way. Smell the Chinesium coming off of these things. The general rule on Subarus, I do not use aftermarket CV axles because rarely do they work well. They usually cause torque vibrations. However, sometimes you have to do what you have to do. The OEM CV axles for these things are very expensive. You know, I think last time I sold there $400 and some each, $400 to $500. Like I say, we're gonna exceed the value of this car if we do that. So we're gonna try these aftermarkets. This is the brand I've sold before with better than average success. It used to be before all the, you know, aftermarket, new aftermarket took over the aftermarket, for lack of a better term. You used to get remanufactured CV axles. And with Subarus, instead of getting new, you know, new aftermarket, I would get reman aftermarket because typically it was a reman OEM axle, which, you know, stopped all your issues from happening. But now that it's been so many years since, you know, these have been in the system, people that buy reman ones send these back in for a core, and then you end up getting these back, you know, rebuilt, so to speak, and they're just as bad as, you know, new. I'm willing to bet that none of what I just said made any amount of sense, but it does in my mind. It does in my mind. That's all that matters, I guess. Whoa. Whoa, whoa. Easy, fella. Oh, baby, come on, don't. Finger pinching mother lover. I guess long story short, as they say downstate, if you can afford OEMs, get OEMs. If you can't, go to the junkyard and get used rather than new if they're used OEM, which are telltale signs is they typically have green. The inner tulip is green, in most cases in round instead of tulip shaped. So I guess that's all I can tell you. Looks good. Besides home carpentry, pouring concrete, soldering, or any type of welding, the fourth most controversial topic on the internet is how to bend a split pin. And do you call them split pins or do you call them cotter pins? That's the next thing. Being formerly trained with NASA, I learned a lot putting together the Apollo 37. And on NASA, we always used to use the reverse curly Q with the fold around, okay? That's how you'll see that if any of you have ever worked on spaceships. I don't know how many of you were in the space program as I was. And then you end it with just a straight out curly Q, like that. The method you'll see online is similar to this one here. People just put them in, bend one underneath, trim it off. They trim that one, and then give that a push up. You want your wheels to fall off, do it that way. While you're pondering the curly Q method, whether or not it's legit, it is because it's on the internet. Ponder this for a minute. We spoke about solder. In the US, S-O-L-D-E-R. We call it solder. When we use our welder, we call it a welder. How come we don't call it a wetter? As you deliberate upon that thought, we will carry on by torquing our axle nuts. Both of these nuts. 162 pound-feet of torque on this little fella. Look at that, folks. Amazing. Of course, she's Christmas tree also. Seatbelt doesn't work here, so well, you're gonna have to deal with the beeper. Well, there you have it, folks, putting the CV axles in your Subaru. It's not an overly difficult job. Rust and corrosion adds an element of challenge to it, but other than that, not much to do, or not much to say about it, rather. So, comment section, folks. Questions, comments, concerns, the Insta, the Facebook. You guys know where to find us. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.